Good evening, everybody. It's about 6 o'clock. We've spent about 7 hours looking for a dog that Isabella's been stalking around 5th and Montana for the last 4 days. And he's pretty much returning to the same spot each day, but unfortunately, he left shortly after we got there. We watched him for about an hour, and he never approached the trap. And then he got up and started running around the neighborhood. And he never came back, unfortunately. He's a big German shepherd, like a retriever mix. He's got a longish coat, floppy ears, a decent sized dog. And then we got called off on another dog down on Berry Boulevard near Sale that Isla posted. And she called me and said that she'd had eyes on him in an alley on Dresden. And Nikki and I left and went down there, and Isabella watched the trap, and we never did get eyes on that one, but he's dragging about a 10 or 15 foot length of chain. That's a pit bull, a brown and white pit bull. So that was really unfortunate. Isabella made a post about him, and I made a post about the dog at 5th and Montana, so hopefully we'll get some calls, some sightings. There's just so many dogs out. And that's why we say hashtag snip, chip, tag, contain. And we ask everybody to put it in the chat when they're watching and they hear us talking about it. Hashtag snip, chip, tag, contain. Wanted to also thank Ashley Trago for going down and grooming that poor, massively matted golden doodle last night. It took her 3 hours to do. So he is free of that pelt. She checked his nails and checked his ears, and he seemed to be in pretty good shape. So at least he's met the 48-hour requirement for getting shaved. But we're trying to locate a trolley so that they can keep him safe when he's in the yard. And hopefully he's going to be neutered and microchipped soon, as they can get an appointment with Snip Clinic or Snip and Save. Snip and Save people reached out on the post also and said that they were doing large dogs. So I provided that information, and they got a voucher from LMAS for Snip Clinic, but unfortunately the appointments are just booked out, especially for the large dogs. So one way or the other, hopefully he will get neutered and microchipped fairly quickly, so he will have a safer existence down in the 300 block of 18th. But I appreciate Ashley for going and doing that, because there are a lot of people who, actually 4 other groomers reached out to me, which was really nice. And typically a dog like that would be taken to Metro Animal Services, and they would ask for somebody to come and groom it, and they would vaccinate and neuter it. But the owner showed up before the officer left, and he basically said we have to give them a chance to correct the violations before we give them a court date or seize the dog. But he was very strict about, if the dog wasn't shaved within 48 hours, then he would seize it. So I know a lot of people had really strong feelings about that dog, and I'm always agitated when I'm doing the live about the condition of the dog and the state of abuse and neglect that exists in this city. And when you really analyze it, it comes down to resources, a lack of which are massively present in Louisville, especially any place west of 9th or south of Broadway, basically. So, even when we're upset with people for doing what they're doing, a lot of times it's because either they don't have the ability to do it, they can't physically do it, they don't have the money to do it, and we just try to get them as many resources as we can so that they can retain their pets. Because for all the people who said that dog should be taken, where do you want to take it? We can't just take dogs to Metro because we don't like the people who have them, or they don't, take care of them like we would take care of our dogs, because there's no room. You know, the dogs that we take to Metro that don't have field fosters are usually the hard cases, or sometimes they're really good dogs that just we cannot find a field foster. And we've pulled in a couple of hundred over the last few months, first-time field fosters, which is fantastic, and we appreciate every single person who has stepped up, especially in those emergency situations where we catch a bunch of dogs. None of the dogs that we caught on Sunday had to stay at Metro. They've either been claimed or they have foster, and maybe they will be claimed. Sometimes it takes people a few days to figure out where to go, what to do, where to look. So we just have to keep trying. Thank you, thank you, Gina Bear, for doing that. I'm live streaming on StreamYard because it at least will save my lives for me on YouTube as well, since Facebook is now giving us a 30-day limit. And, I've got 20 years of Facebook, and I'm still trying to figure out how I can download all my lives at once. And without that original notification, which I cannot find, I'm having to just sit there and download them a month at a time, which will take for frickin' ever. So unless they send me another notification, which I am watching for every day, I don't know how I'm going to get 20 years of Facebook Lives downloaded. And one day I'll wake up and all of my live streams will be gone, which is like my history. So I'm trying really hard. I've had some help from Canada, from my friend Carrie, and asked a couple of locals who are pretty competent with storing stuff, and it's all coming back to the same problem, which is without that original notification that takes you to the download tool that's supposed to make this so easy, it's hard to access it. And I've searched through Facebook help, I've sent a message to Facebook support, nothing. So thanks a lot for that, Facebook. But when Isabella heard 10 gunshots go off where we were trapping, Nikki and I were gone looking for the other dog, and we decided it was time to head home, especially since it's starting to get dark. So if anybody sees either of those two dogs that we've posted about, one with the chain attached to it and the other one which is just a pretty good sized shepherd, maybe retriever mix, please call the number. Really appreciate it, 502-552-2605, and let me know where the dog is, because that's the quickest and easiest way to get my attention, is to call my phone. Get messages and text messages and Facebook notifications all day, which I can't keep up with constantly. I try, but when the phone rings, I can answer it and get the information we need quickly, and somebody can get to where the dog is quickly. So we had a lot of good returns today because of all the time we had sitting there looking at our pages. We were able to get a dog home thanks to Amanda Torres, and a dog home thanks to Leslie Lincolnhoker. And, just when people notify me and I can get somebody out there, it's great. But the first call really has to be to Metro Animal Services, you guys. It has to be to dispatch so they know where the dog is and they've got a record of it. Just sending a post or a message to me with the thousands of messages that I'm getting is not the most effective way to alert people. Make a post, call Metro Animal Services, and then let the rest of us know, and we'll see if we can get somebody there. But that's what they do, and you have to leave a message. They do call back, and the number is 502-574-5397. Gina, would you put that in there in the chat? 502-574-5397. That's your first call, because it's important that they know where these dogs are. And one of them, somebody else called me and said there was a dog attacking someone. And I said, then call Metro. And apparently the owner came out and said she couldn't bring the dog in the house and she can't keep it in the yard, and all kinds of other excuses. But we can't have dogs attacking people. And when there are LMPD or LMAS has to respond to those problems, because that's not something I would send a volunteer out on with a dog that is aggressive like that. So thank you guys for the help that you're able to give us, and anybody who wants to come out and join anytime we go live, feel free. We're going to be back down there tomorrow and hopefully see if this dog will come back. We left him a really good dinner and a bowl of water, and we left a camera on the feeding station, so we'll see if he shows up. And we can also get a little bit better timeline on when he's coming back to his little nesting spot. And we've got the neighbors on alert, so that helps a tremendous amount. Thank you. 502-5745. Yep, that's it. That's Metro Animal Services Dispatch. And that should be everybody's first call. Make them aware. If they have an officer, they'll send them out. If there is no officer available, and they say there is no officer available, then we'll try to do what we can. Thank you. Thanks, Gina. Appreciate you. Take care of yourself. All right, you guys, Ellie's been waiting for a long time today, so I'm going to take her out for a little exercise, and hope you guys have a good night.